They want something to do now, I mean, for years.
What's up, Five?
Oh, really? Hey, just in time. Hey, long time no see. Good, how are you?
Oh, no complaints.
Nice to see you. For the last time.
It's spread out. Got the whole thing.
Apparently, I hold us a sign. We'll be here for like half an hour after it's signed. I know they went on the last way of dinner.
John is away.
Oh, you're there?
Yes.
And Sam's all shot too, okay. Is ready to kick off? All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming to tonight's council meeting. We can begin with the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is not called to order. In line with the Borough of Seabright's longstanding policy of open government and in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, I wish to advise you that adequate notice of this regularly scheduled meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press and other local newspapers on January 10th, 2022. Each instance of date, time, and location of this meeting were provided in the notice. This meeting is open to the public. Roll call. Councilmembers Bieber.
Here.
Birdsall. Here. Booker. Here. Catalano. Killer. Rami. And Mayor Kelly's here. All right, first up, we'll have remarks from the audience. Anybody online or in person like to be heard, please just state your name, your address, and the floor is yours.
I'm Brad O'Connor.
Sure. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm Brad O'Connor at 932 Ocean Avenue. I'm here because my neighbor at 924 Ocean Avenue's bulkhead is in need of repair. It has for a while. Moved in January 2020, and it needed repair then. And he, without me even asking, said, "Oh, I know it needs repair. I'm going to fix it." Yada yada. So we're almost 2 years past, and I called the town in September and asked, as I looked it up, and there's an ordinance designed for standards for specific uses, item G, bulkhead maintenance, and it allows the town to do inspections and then give notices if the bulkhead needs repair. I was told that he was given that notice back in January of 21, along with some others from inspections that occurred in the fall of 2020. And then I was told that because of COVID and other reasons, People were given time because they couldn't get contractors or whatever the case may be to get the work done. Totally understand that that was going on. But it's now been 2.5 years. I'm getting very worried about his bulkhead giving way. The ground is already starting to wash out, and it will start to wash out from behind my bulkhead. So I want to ask the town what they're going to do, or when are you going to go back to these people that, because I think there were others besides my neighbor, that got these notices to reestablish the fact that they need to do this work. And I hate being here because I hate telling on my neighbor I like him, but I've tried a number of times, and every time I'm told I'm working on it, but I don't see any action. So I'm at the point where I had to come to you guys and bring this up.
Brian, do you want me to comment on it?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your comment. I think your assessment is fair and accurate. An ordinance was put in place to try to encourage homeowners to take care of their properties quite a while ago, about 2 years ago. I was not on council back then, but about that period of time. Your comment about the COVID situation did affect a lot of people, but nonetheless, there is a requirement in the town, and we've been doing a fairly comprehensive review over this for the last 6 months to put a program in place that's going to both encourage and require people to take care of their properties. There were 27 properties identified in town that were in need of repair. I'm sure that was probably one of them. So I chair the administration committee. Right now, we're updating that ordinance. We're putting a plan in place which includes engineering, legal, and finance to try to establish a way to do this comprehensively. So we're going to be reporting on this over the next couple of months. All of us would like this to have been done last year and yesterday. The situation is only going to get worse. But I can assure you that right now the town is making a very strong effort to develop a plan that is both fair, enforceable, and comprehensive. And we hope to roll that out probably in Q1 of next year.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate all of that. And it really just comes down from my perspective now is that time is of the essence. And I don't want to be here a year from now having the same conversation.
Right.
And I also wanted to get on record so if something does happen, I've come to you guys and expressed my concern.
Yeah, this topic has been covered probably 5 or 6 times at workshops and council meetings, and there is a uniform view on this council that we have to take action. So we are in agreement that we have to do something. This is going to be a complex effort for the town, and the reason for it is the majority of the properties are privately owned,
Right.
and the cost associated with doing that is substantial. We've looked at a grant approach with the U.S. government. The problem is they put requirements on the property that a lot of people would not want. The height of the bulkhead, setback requirements, access by the public. So the route of going self-funded or through an assessment program by the town, which is one of the areas we're looking at, is probably the most effective way to get it done, but it is a complex thing to consider because of the properties involved. All of that doesn't mean anything to you when the next storm comes and it affects your property.
That's right.
And that's why we see urgency to get this done.
Okay. I appreciate that. I mean, I read the ordinance, as I read it, allows the town to do the work and put a lien on the property. Why would that not be sufficient?
We don't want to do it property by property, right? But we have all the way from North Beach down to South Beach. So to do that and shotgun effect one after the other would not be an appropriate approach for us to do it. We need a holistic approach to address this for the town. I will share with you that our primary concern starts within the downtown area because that's where the major flooding does occur. So we'll look at dividing it up into zones. This is probably going to take us a couple of years to do. What we'd really like to see happen is we'd like to see every property owner take care of it themselves. If they refuse, we have to find a way to do it and enforce it.
Yeah. Well, that scares me that you're now saying it's 2 years because I'm not in downtown, just north of the bridge. But at a minimum, should the town go back? And I don't know whether everyone got a reprieve just naturally or whether the town just chose not to follow up. But perhaps if that was just a reprieve that was given to everybody, that another notice should go back to those individuals at a minimum now and say, COVID's over, contractors are going to become available because guess what? Construction's slowing down at a lot of places. Perhaps is now the time for them to start doing that.
So step one for us, and I don't want to belabor this for too long, Mayor, if you want to chime in. Step one for us is developing an updated ordinance to put those requirements in place. Step two is making sure we have a comprehensive way of this being done financially. The desire would be to have every homeowner pay for it themselves.
Sure.
When they can't, it becomes a bonding issue. Right? And when it becomes a bonding issue, you understand that takes time for the town to put that in place. Sure. We would like this to be done as quickly as possible.
Okay, I appreciate the time. I hope it is.
Anybody else like to be heard? Anybody online who wants to be heard? All right. Let's see. Go back to that. So we'll move on to our consent agenda. Would anybody make a motion to approve the items on this consent agenda?
Second.
All right. Council members Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
Hewitt.
Yes.
All right. The consent agenda has been approved. We're going to move on to our first of a number of ordinances on the agenda tonight. First one is bond ordinance number 9/2022. Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $425,000 for various road improvements for and by the borough of Seabright in the county of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $67,400 bonds or notes of the borough for financing part of the appropriation. Would anybody make a motion to open the public hearing on bond ordinance 9/2022?
So.
Second.
All right, Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. Okay, would anybody from the public like to be heard on this bond ordinance? Anybody online? All right, would anybody make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 9/2022?
So moved. Second.
All right, Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler.
Yes.
All right, the public hearing has been closed. Would somebody like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 9/2022?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. All right, ordinance 9/2022 has been adopted. We're moving on to ordinance number 10/2022, an ordinance of the Borough of Seabright amending and supplementing the code of the Borough of Seabright to add chapter 164, residential property short-term rental registration pertaining to the regulation of short-term rental units within the borough. Would anybody make a motion to open a public hearing on ordinance 10/2022?
Mayor, I'd like to make that motion. One thing I would say is a minor change was made to that ordinance since introduced.
Okay.
We changed the word realtor to real estate agent, which we felt was more appropriate, and got input from the Realtor Commission to do that. Other than that, there's no change.
All right, so would anybody make a motion to open a public hearing on 10/2022?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. All right, is there anybody in the public like to be heard on ordinance 10/2022? All right, let's make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 10/2022.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler.
Yes.
All right, public hearing's been closed on 10/2022. Would anybody like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 10/2022?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All right, Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 10/2022 has been adopted. All right, moving on to ordinance number 11/2022, an ordinance of the Borough of Seabright, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the code of the Borough of Seabright, Part 2, general legislation, and to add thereto a new chapter 74 entitled Business Insurance Registration. Would anybody make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 11/2022?
So moved. Second.
All right, Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
All right, anybody in the public who'd like to be heard regarding ordinance 11/2022? No one online. All right, can somebody make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 11/2022?
Second.
Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler.
Yes.
All right, the public hearing's been closed on 11/2022. Can somebody please make a motion to adopt ordinance 11/2022?
So moved.
All right, Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 11/2022 has been adopted. We're moving on to ordinance number 12/2022, an ordinance of the Borough of Seabright, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, establishing procedures and standards regarding deployment of small wireless facilities in public rights of way in the Borough of Seabright.
Mayor, there was a request today
I'm not exactly sure how it changed, but somewhere or another, the ordinance got changed from 500 feet to 900 feet. Somebody, Declan O'Scallon had called me and said the original ordinance that we used as the basis of this, say 500 feet, and he said if we switch it back to 500 feet, that would have less of a chance of being contested against it.
I would agree with that too.
So I just make that amendment to from 900 feet to back to 500 feet. I don't know where it changed. Roger, go ahead, sorry.
What I would suggest we do is not make that amendment, only because I think that would be considered substantial, which means we have to re-advertise with the amendment. There are a number of other technical amendments that we're going to have to look at the next workshop meeting. Plus, we have a request from Verizon to discuss a couple of other provisions of the ordinance, which we'll do before the next council workshop, so we can fill you in on that. So there will be a number of amendments, and we can leave that, I think.
Okay, that seems fair enough.
At least this puts it in place so that we have a framework. In case we do get a full-blown application, we'll have some standards to go by. And we can always modify that as we go.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, so
I have no changes then.
okay, yeah, so we're going to come.
Council.
If you're keeping the amendment as is for now, keeping in mind we'll probably amend in the future. But okay, with that being said, was that a
So moved.
Second?
Accepted.
all right? Councilmember Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. Okay, is there anybody in the audience like to be heard regarding ordinance number 12, 2022? All right, seeing no one, can anybody make a motion to close the public hearing on 12, 2022?
So moved.
Second?
All right, Councilmember Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. All right, the public hearing has been closed on 12, 2022. Can somebody please make a motion to adopt ordinance 12, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Councilmember Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. All right, ordinance 12, 2022 has been adopted. All right, moving on to new business. Under vouchers, in the amount of $406,581.84. Can somebody please make a motion to approve the vouchers?
So moved.
Second?
All right, roll call. Councilmembers Bieber,
Yes.
Berthold,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
and Keeler. All right, the voucher list has been approved. All right, we're moving on to mayor and council comments. Anybody in the council like to make comments as it relates to meetings?
Okay, Mayor, I'll go first. Thank you. We've touched on both of these to some extent. On behalf of the administration committee, the two priorities that we had ongoing with short-term rental activities and with approval of the ordinance, our next steps right now, we have three. Number one is this Thursday, we're holding a short-term rental review team session to talk about the administration of this. It's going to take some oversight. It's going to take some enforcement. We want to make sure we have that in place and ready to go for January 1st. So that meeting is going to be happening this Thursday, and I will report back to the mayor and council on the output of that. The second part of that is we do have to notify the state of New Jersey that we're implementing a 3% permissible municipal tax. They need a 90-day advance notice on that in order for it to take effect. That gets us into the January timeframe. I don't think we'll miss much revenue because of that. But now that we have approval of the ordinance, we can move that forward and submit that paperwork. And the third thing, in my mind, this is very important, is we have to start the notification of the homeowners of these properties, because we want to make sure that we give them sufficient notice of what's going to be required of them going forward. We don't want them to be in a position that they're not aware. So there's two ways we're going to do this. The first is the online rental agencies actually notify the people that rent on their site. So we'll do it through Airbnb and VRBO. And the second is we'll provide notification directly from the town to ensure that they're aware of this as they start their 2023 rental process. The second thing I was going to cover, and the gentleman that got up to speak before touched on it, and I think we covered it, is the administration committee is very focused now on this bulkhead improvement effort. As you know, we've reported quite a bit on it. It's a complex activity, but we're going to re-engage on that now that we have a couple other things finalized, and we'll be reporting on a routine basis on that as well. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any comments?
Mayor, if I may, on Finance Committee, many of you saw an email from CFO Mike Bassam that was laying out the reason behind some of the reallocation funds and asking our department heads to keep their powder dry as pertains to their spending. because we want to be, as always, as we are, mindful of our spending and only spend when we have to, and pull back funds perhaps that might not be needed for the original intended purpose, to make sure that we're positioning ourselves for the rainy day that will eventually come. So Mike has been very helpful, along with the administration, the department heads in operating with that view, and we anticipate tightening the belt as we go forward, understanding that we're doing that to allow us to be prepared for things that we might not see that are coming down the pipe. So, just wanted to report that.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Jack?
Just mentioned within our consent agenda, the fire department has 3 new members, and one of them is from Seabright, which is a nice addition. The other is from Rumson, and the third one is from further North Jersey. So that brings the volunteer membership to above 55. So makes us some very good. My hats off to you, Chad, again.
That's great.
So I just want to say for the DPW, we are entering this winter season, so be prepared. Be prepared for notifications, for street cleaning, that sort of thing, to keep vehicles off the street if need be. Also, with the storm season upon us, watch for flood announcements for any flooding in the downtown area, and then. On that flooding issue, we are working on getting those check valves that we're responsible for in town. They were supposed to be installed a couple weeks ago, but we had some issues with some hardware that needed to be ordered, a change of hardware that needed to be ordered because the hardware we had wasn't sufficient enough for underwater use, so we had to switch it out. And then we also have made some progress with the state in regards to their check valves, their stormwater drainage systems that they own, and getting check valves installed there. So I did have a conversation with Congressman Pallone last Saturday, I guess it was, and so we were able to get some progress there. And I lit a fire, and somehow or another something's getting done. So a few phone calls that we had ignored actually got some gruesome legs. So. Fingers crossed we'll get something done there and get that accomplished and get those finished. And with that, we're obviously never going to eliminate flooding in this town, but we should help minimize it a little bit along with the bulkhead ordinance that we've got in place. So hopefully things will start to iron out in the next week. Hopefully soon, but a couple of years maybe, who knows how long the ordinance is going to take. That's where we're at right now. So just and kudos to them. DPW crew going into the winter season. This is a tough season for them. So just my last season with them. So
just one question: which is moving ahead first, the state or us?
We'll our check valves downtown. I believe we have 6 that are getting put in place. Not all downtown. A couple of them on the outskirts, but. They should be getting put in place within the next week or so. Dave's been having difficulty pinning the guy down that's won the contract for it because he works all up and down the river. So he gets a second, he's doing something. And he's out on a barge usually most of the time, so it's hard to get a hold of him. So.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, thanks again, Fire Chief. Thanks for keeping building such a strong department there. All volunteer force, and you guys have a pretty robust force there, so congrats to you and your whole department. Good stuff. So it's Monday night council meeting. We have our league municipalities this week. Some of us are going down there. Most of the towns head down to AC once a year for different conferences, trainings, networking, all that good stuff. So that's all we're having at Monday night meeting this tonight, and some of us are heading down there. So I'll see some of you down there. Aside from that, I guess Thanksgiving is coming up pretty quickly. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy it. It's going to grow fast. And we do have an executive session tonight. We're not going to take any more action afterwards, so this is the end of the public meeting. And thank